Today I'm going to bring you along with me to a community thrift store in Minnetonka, Minnesota. Minnetonka, the same Lake Minnetonka where Prince used to like to hang out. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I've gone to a few Goodwills, I've done the Goodwill bins with you, and today I wanted to try my hand at a community thrift store. In my opinion, it had the right mission, it had the right pricing. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. And in coming videos, I'm going to also take a peek around the Twin Cities area for other thrift stores that we can go to together that aren't the Goodwill. So come along with me and I'll show you what I found. Today I'm going to bring you along with me to Able Light Thrift Store. It used to be called Bethesda. It's located near 101 and 7 in Minnetonka, Minnesota. And I used to come here often and haven't been here for a while. So I wanted to check out what a community thrift store in Minnesota is like. And it did not disappoint. I wish I had had much more time to spend. It was packed, it was clean, and my most favorite thing, it was playing Christmas music. Now, it is a Christian-based thrift store. It does also play Christian music. That I love. But it is the workers there were elderly people, there were developmentally disabled people. It just felt like a hug, for lack of a better word. It was a really nice experience. People were working hard, they were putting away things. I liked the Christmas music, I really did. You sometimes hear it, but sometimes stores go away from that. I was looking at this Vera Bradley bag because I know at the Goodwill, they were pricing them up in the front for $24.99, and this one was very well priced and at a normal price. So it felt to me like a place that you actually could shop. The shoe selection was fantastic, and you didn't feel as though, even though the tag was there, you didn't feel showing the actual value. You didn't feel that it was being ridiculously marked up. It was so nice to be in a thrift store that you could understand their mission. They were receiving donations and bringing them back out into the community at a good price. If you had an event to go to and you needed a pair of heels for something, why not go here for $8.99 to get a pair of nice quality? All of them were clean. All of them were, unlike the Goodwill bins, paired together, easy to find by sizes. It just was a nice, I've sold these before. I'll put up a screenshot. I've found these at a church rummage sale. These were priced, I think, for a pair, just $1.99. But if you see these, I've sold a lot of these wooden shoe horns, sizers. The men's shoe, look at how much they had. It was gorgeous. And the dresses, I found this right off the bat. This is what I took home. It was $9.99. It was Jessica McClintock Gunne Sax. This is the Gunne Sax dress that I sold on Poshmark recently. I knew right away it was in beautiful condition. So that was the one item that I did purchase. When I went to pay, they asked if I wanted to round up a penny. So I spent $10 while I was here. But it was not overcrowded, but there were a lot of shoppers. I've done well on these little end caps where you can find miscellaneous wallets and organizers. Don't be afraid to look in there for items to buy and thrift for a profit. The clothing, the women's clothing, was clean and well marked and not overpriced. There wasn't anything, any brands in the time I was there that was any different or better. They were average mall brands, but the prices weren't jacked up. They were reasonable. And what I appreciate is that if you just choose to shop secondhand, you can find things. And if you choose to be a reseller and take these things out of the thrift store and put them back into the community, this was a store that everybody could get behind. Blazers, there were things that were, this one was marked a little higher, and I was curious, but when I saw the actual price of it in the store, it was new with tags, that one was marked up a little higher. I swear I had that blazer back when I worked downtown. This happens to me all the time. I see things in the thrift store that I remember having. I have donated to this thrift store, but it was a long time ago, so I don't think that was my blazer. But this happens where I'll see things and I am convinced that I've seen it before, like in my closet. So they have tags, and I did go online, color tags, 50% off, and it looked from their Facebook site that they rotate them. It looked to be weekly. So there are real deals to be had if you can find a color of the week tag, because as you can see, the actual pricing was really reasonable. Men's slacks, trousers. So they offer that in addition to the color of the week, in addition to decent pricing. So I was really pleased with what I saw here, and again, makes it affordable for everyone. The jewelry was, I bought jewelry here as well, and I was looking at the prices and I blew it up a little bit for you so you could see. Very affordable and fun, cool, funky pieces. Again, if you have somewhere to go and you just need a necklace for an event, why not come here? This said things in this rack were going to be kept behind the counter. I didn't quite get what this was, because that was a Target bag with tags. So I didn't quite understand that. So something about these items up front were more special, and I don't know if you couldn't put them in your cart. I wasn't quite sure what that was. Made my way down the hard goods aisle, and I feel like, the store is huge, but the hard goods is what I like, and gorgeous, vintage, fun, priced at $1.99, $2.99. They were European. They weren't just made in China. They were vintage. They were quality. I feel like, and I might be wrong, but I feel like the donations that come here, and again, you sure can correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I've sold sets of teacups. I bought these at a rummage sale, church rummage sale, but I've done well with mismatched sets of teacups. I might be wrong, but it feels to me like people that donate here truly might. Oh, these plates were nice too. The little ones, just 99 cents. And when I took a peek at the big ones, those were just $1.99. So very affordable, very cool. If you just wanted a change of pace for your dishes, your everyday, or you're having a party. I might be wrong, but I wonder if the people that donate here they understand the mission better. The glassware, 99 cents. They understand the mission better. It's better quality items they don't want them just to end up at the Goodwill bins. I don't know for certain what happens to items like this. If they don't sell, when they don't sell, my gut tells me they go to a good cause. It just is in keeping with the mission. I did, at the end of the video, I've sold these glasses before. I found them at the Goodwill and I liked them, and I actually have sold this set of green glasses before. I put their mission statement at the end of the video. It's for helping developmentally disabled people, and its base is Christian based. I'm just guessing that maybe these items don't end up in a landfill, but I don't know. These were just 99 cents a piece. I don't know, and if you do know, I'm curious. Where do community thrift stores send their items that don't sell when the items get turned over? I'm wondering what happens to breakables and glassware like this. I'm not certain. They had an extensive amount of furniture. They had holiday dishes. I don't know if these little wheat plates were like a mid-century pattern, but it felt to me, it feels like they maybe come out of older homes. This is again near Lake Minnetonka, and if you've seen the movie Purple Rain and you know about Lake Minnetonka, there are some fabulous, stunning, gorgeous homes near and around Lake Minnetonka. I do love that pearlized lusterware, is it called? I do love dishes like that. Just buying singles like that, you can find great things to do around the house, but I do appreciate the vintage. I just think it's made better. You can't go into the stores now and find anything that looks like this. But it has to be your style and your vibe in order to appreciate it. But the mugs, all of the mugs were 99 cents. It didn't matter. They weren't marking them up. They were single mugs. I took a peek at the bottoms of some of them that caught my eye. They were just 99 cents, which, one by one by one by one at the Goodwill, they will go and make sure they're not losing money on any of these mugs, and they will mark them up. I actually did a Google image search on this one. This one was current and going on for sale online for $34. I didn't have enough time today. My suggestion would be to you, there's that yellow dress, my little cart, that's all I put in there. My suggestion would be have a lot of time. If you are able to, this store is a treasure trove of nice items that are fairly priced. I could have done a lot of damage in this store for personal and to turn around and flip for a profit. Like I said, I had this bowl. I had that pattern. It's Kalika. My husband, when we worked downtown Minneapolis, Dayton's was our popular store back then. Oh, don't miss out on the candles. There are some really good deals to be had with vintage candles. We worked downtown, and my husband brought Kalika dishes for me by the armfuls one year. We parked in a ramp down there, and I remember him carrying bags and bags from Dayton's. That was my first foray into pottery and dishes, was Kalika. And I ended up selling some of them on eBay and also donated some of those dishes. My mom had some as well, and I, being an only child and having to move her out of her home, I had a lot of items, and I talked about it before. I was moving her out and into a memory care facility during COVID. That was quite a time, and I was so incredibly thankful for the ability to, this was gorgeous. I don't know if it was like a salt shaker. It was beautiful, made in Italy. I was so thankful for the ability to have somewhere to put the items that came out of her home. I didn't have room or space to put them all in my home. And my children, I have 2 boys, they don't want it. Their wives don't want it. I didn't have space to take on all of her things. This was so cute. It was like a trivet. I loved that. How cute is that? I was so thankful for the ability to have a spot to sell her items. Facebook Marketplace, we did quite well during COVID, and I had already been selling on eBay, so I knew how to sell. I started selling in 2017, and then COVID came around at 2020, and everyone was shopping online, so I was really fortunate to have the ability to have a spot, because I think if you look, what do people do when grandma moves? This is a charging station. I thought that was really helpful. And then all of these holiday items. What do you do when grandma moves? What do you do when your mom moves? What do you do when you move? Where do you put it? It ends up here. And I remember when they changed over from Bethesda to Able Light, they put this center section here of holiday items that they keep out all year long. And so there was an Easter shelving, there is Halloween shelving, and of course this time of year there was all of the Christmas items. This store is large enough that they have the ability to keep all of this inventory out at all times. So there is a plethora of items to pick from. Oh, and one of the best parts, this store is next to a crumble cookie. If you have not been to Crumble Cookies, it's really good. So stop by Crumble Cookies. We were here on a Sunday. They were closed, but I stop there all the time and get Crumble Cookies to bring to our kids' house. These were cute. They are Department 56. They were heavy. Department 56 is based in Minnesota, and there was quite a few items, vintage items that I found. This was another one. It was a Mercury glass helicopter. It was really pretty. This one was priced up a little bit, but it was gorgeous. And again, a Department 56. That was another thing that I sold, those little villages that were so popular. My mom loved them. I brought her special ones to her new assisted living home, and they lit up and they stayed lit all the time. But after she passed, I was able to sell her vintage Department 56, those snow houses, those snow babies. She collected all of that, and I loved knowing that I could pass them on to a good home. So their Christmas items, there were rows and rows and rows. There wasn't junk. It wasn't just throwing items out there. I feel like they have their pricers, and I remember being in the store back a few years ago, asking a woman a question who worked there, and she told me that was not her section. This was cute. Not her section. She helped me. They were great, but she didn't know as much about like the toy section because she worked in the linen section. So how cool is that? Like they know their inventory. The individual ornaments, most of them were priced just at 99 cents. And again, not the junky ones. They were cute, but I think just not knowing, they display them so nicely and not having boxes or anything. They just blanket pricing is what I felt. Just blanket pricing, 99 cents, $1.99. They weren't individually trying to get the most they could out of every single donated for free item that came into their store. And look at how much inventory comes into their store. Their books were grouped by genre, type, and rows and rows and stacks of books. That's the pricing, and I blew that up so you could see the books were $3 for. They sold them in sets of 3, and if you didn't buy 3, they had really great pricing individually. Bibles, if you can find large print, and of course this store would have lots of Bibles. If you can find large print Bibles, I found them at the Goodwill bins, and they sold right away for a good profit. I talked about this Martha Stewart book in my last video. I looked again. I don't know if you saw the documentary on Martha Stewart, but her book right now, the first one, the entertaining book, that's what it's selling for. It's signed. Had to be signed. The unsigned copies were also doing well, but if you can find that original Martha Stewart signed book, it does really well. This was the children's clothing. Those dresses, those twirl dresses, vintage, I found one back in the day. This is not my sale. But those twirly vintage tulle lace dresses, I was looking for another one. That's how much they sell for. Mine did not sell for that much. Mine was in the $100 range, but I was watching another YouTuber and they talked about those dresses. They had gorgeous coats, and the prices were $19.99. It wasn't the $49.99 that the Goodwill wants to put on all the coats, and then they end up at the Goodwill Outlet. So they had rows of not briefcases, but carrying bags, travel bags for your laptop. Couldn't really find pricing on those, but they had a whole entire rack of travel bags for your laptops. This was on the back wall of the store, and they grouped it in the back. They grouped sporting goods, and they also had pet items back in this area near the toys. They did really well. Their linen section was really well done. They were priced, you could tell they were looked through and priced. Oh, here their plush is only, I took a peek at the tag, all of that plush, I was not going to go down in there, but if you like plush, 99 cents, unless they were individually marked. And I saw that one bigger one there was like $3.99. It wasn't $12.99. The linen section, there were tags on each piece of the linens, and they told you full size, queen size. They were marked on the tag. You didn't have to go digging for it, but each tag that I pulled had a little, what I thought was a little grandma tag, grandma meaning the writing, you know what the little grandma writing looks like, that somebody took the time to lay that out and individually tag each of those items with the writing on what it was, what the sizing was, which was so sweet. So for me, it was like going into a store in the middle of the big city. It was Minnetonka, which isn't literally a big city, but it had a small town feel. It felt like the people that worked there cared about the merchandise. The merchandise was clean. The little handwritten note from the grandma writing, I just thought was so cute. Again, what I said, it kind of felt in this store to me like a little hug. Like you could spend a long time there. And what I saw there were partner girls and moms and daughters and couples and everybody, it seemed like almost a destination. People were like, talking and happy. And I don't get that at the Goodwill bins. I don't get that at the Goodwill. Savers there was nobody in the Savers that I was at, but this store was just so pleasant. And like I said, faith-based. I have been in here where they're playing faith-based music, and it just felt good being in here. The linens were in these little individual totes, 99 cents for all these little handmade grandma linens. They had the blankets that the grandmas would crochet. Back in the day, you get a grandma who crochet a blanket for you. They were all hung up on these, vintage wooden hangers, and grandma put in a lot of time. Nobody does that anymore. And they were just trying to get them back out into the community. And they weren't trying to make a huge profit. So if I had time, I would have spent a lot more time in that little vintage area. Their crafting area was awesome. They had kits and yarn. They had a beauty section of products and brushes and makeup bags. I purchased a gorgeous vintage jewelry box at this store. Always check the jewelry boxes, especially in little stores like this, vintage stores like this. People still want those vintage jewelry boxes. So that reminded me when I picked one up, but they did a nice job with their cosmetics and like their personal items. The other thing that I didn't see it here today, but when my mom moved, the other thing that they had a lot of was not health and beauty, but it was personal items in terms of canes and walkers. We got my mom a wheelchair. It was a little tiny wheelchair. She was a little tiny person, and the pricing was well below what it would have been in any other store. This vintage basket was adorable, so well made. Looked like the 80s or the 90s, like a little picnic Easter basket. But the finding of that wheelchair there, it was such a blessing because we needed it when we needed it. And I'm sure, you can get them on Amazon, have them delivered. But I thought I had seen them at this store. I didn't see them now. Sometimes, they don't have them. But if that's something, if you're local and you're needing that, you maybe could call ahead. They had wonderful pricing. Their artwork wasn't great in terms of prices, but I thought it was fair. Again, if you wanted to donate or wanted to swap out your artwork, is a great place to do it at. The furniture was all in the middle here. And again, if it wasn't a quality piece, it was priced to go. If you're getting your first apartment, if your kids are moving into their first home, out to college, their college apartment, this is this was beautiful. This out on the deck or in your porch. I don't know, that was like a stone topped table. Those were great. Those notes were saying they didn't have help, so to be careful. That was like $12.99. It would have been $89 at the Goodwill. So didn't that look like 90s and vintage? Oh, there's Brian. He came back to get me. He's happy. The Christmas dishes again. There was so much Christmas it spilled out all over the store. But if you need the trees, we had several trees. We did donate my mom's, and we had several trees I ended up donating to this store years back. I was taking a peek at that chair. Oh, that little tinsel kind of tree. It's cute. I was taking a look at that chair because it looked in nice quality, and look at the price. I mean, that's a cute little chair. So again, the note said we don't have enough staffing to help get it out of the store. So if you need to get it out of the store, be careful. It was kind of what the note said. So we had to get back. We actually had a dog, we're dog walkers on the Rover app, and we had to get back because we were needing to get there to help one of our regulars with their dog. It was Sunday. We don't normally do it on Sundays. We normally do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from about 10 to 2. But that was Sunday and needed to get back. So we just did a really quick trip. That was more of their signage about what their organization was doing. These were the prettier ornaments that were, priced fairly for what they are. They were quality ornaments, and they were priced fairly for what it was. So up at the front as you were leaving, they had more about their mission statement, and they were raffling. They were doing auctions and raffling off boys and girls bikes up at the front. There was a lot more that I could have read about who this organization is and what they're all about, but it's good. In my opinion, it was good. Theirs were the 2 brand new bikes, and I noticed that their vintage, really old vintage toys were up at the front. So take a peek at Able Light Thrift. This is a little more about who they are, and what their Christian-based mission is all about. I really liked it here.